In his annual address to the United Nations General Assembly, the newly appointed UN Special Rapporteur on religion spoke out against intolerance towards members of religions or belief systems, including Falun Gong's group that has been persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party.
The recently appointed United Nations Special Rapporteur on freedom of religion or belief spoke out against the mistreatment of members of religion or belief groups. He showed the Chinese regime will not be ignored in its persecution of Falun Gong in the past 11 years. The Chinese regime is a permanent member of the Security Council and a chronic abuser of religious freedom. In his debut address to the United Nations General Assembly on October 21st, Bielefedlt was quoted as saying, "Small communities such as Jehovah's Witnesses, Baha'i, Ahmadi, Falun Gong and others are sometimes stigmatized as cults and are frequently confronted with prejudices that can escalate into becoming conspiracy theories." A delegate from the Chinese regime refuted Bielefeldt's statement, saying the Chinese state had identified Falun Gong as a, quote, cult, and was correct in its efforts to suppress and, according to Reuters, eradicate the group. Falun Gong is a spiritual practice that became hugely popular in China during the 1990s. By 1999, state estimates put the number of practitioners at between 70 to 100 million, a figure that outnumbers the members of the ruling Chinese Communist Party. That same year, the regime banned Falun Gong, labeling it an evil cult to justify persecuting the group. The Falun Dafa Information Center is a rights group that monitors the persecution of Falun Gong. Its executive director, Levi Browdy, applauded Bielefedlt for criticizing the Chinese regime for branding the group a cult. Browdy told the Epoch Times newspaper the regime, quote, threw out this label and then proceeded to say it's correct to eradicate Falun Gong, essentially reiterating the genocidal intent behind an 11-year-old nationwide campaign that has involved the systematic abduction and torture of millions of innocent people. Since 1999, the Falun Dafa Information Center has documented more than 3,400 cases of Falun Gong practitioners who have died as a result of various forms of persecution. On average, a Falun Gong practitioner is tortured to death every 3 days. The president of the Falun Gong Human Rights Working Group, Shi Zhongchen, says Bielefeldt's address is a warning for those involved in the persecution.
The highest United Nations authority on religion and belief clearly stated that the Chinese Communist Party is partaking of religious persecution of Falun Gong. He drew the utmost attention to the issue and in the strongest manner. This has pinned the CCP on the pillar of shame and sends a strong warning to those involved in the persecution.
The UN Special Rapporteur have long expressed concerns over the Chinese regime's persecution of Falun Gong. Bielefedlt singling out of the group amongst a few others during his 15-minute annual address to the General Assembly sends a strong message of how significant he sees the issue.